Welcome to episode 36 of Gary's Graveyard Gramblings. And I've come in, as you can see, we're now well advanced into fall, or autumn as we call it, here in Blighty. And, oh my goodness me, I'm out of breath. Because it's a long walk up here, you know, and I'm not a young man anymore. Oh, here he is, Mr. John Gilbert. We say hello to him. Over there are the what do you call it? The privileged in their concrete bunker. There's Mr. and Mrs. Owl and Count Dracula and the brides of Dracula over there. Hello. Well, let's face it, it's been quite a week. And I think once you get over the sense of shock at our dear colleagues across the pond of electing a man so thick that really mattress thick, I think is what we're talking. And as you know, I've coined the expression, the great Thicktator. It's sort of slightly baffling. But then let's face it, over here, we can't really complain, can we? Because it wasn't that long ago that we had this sitting at the head of our government. I rest my case. So don't panic. This isn't going to be a great long diatribe on politics because, look, I'm an actor. You know, I'm from the entertainment profession and politics, you know, we tend not to get involved in that type of thing. So when the initial shock of what had happened had sunk in, I kind of said to the wife, you know, we ought to watch something to lift our spirits. And what do we reach for when we are down in the dumperoonies? Yes, you've guessed it. Sir Cliff, Una, Melvin, the Shads, singing their hearts away in Summer Holiday.
We're all going on a summer holiday. No more working for a week or two.
It's very hard to stay down in the dumps when Summer Holiday is on. You know, just a few bars of 7 days to a holiday, and there's still so much to do. You can't, can you? So I urge all Americans, Sir Cliff Richards, is not very well known over in the States, I don't think. He never really broke it. It's a tragedy, because over here, of course, she's a national hero. You know, someone that we all look up to. Even when it's pouring with rain at Wimbledon, we can guarantee that Sir Cliff will be there to spring up and give us a few numbers out of Summer Holiday, Espresso Bongo, The Young Ones, you name it, and he can sing it. So lift yourselves up, bung on some Cliff, and it'll make you feel better, you know. I'll leave that subject in a second, but I did read a few minutes ago on the way up, just before I left home to get up here, because it's about a 9-mile hike, you know, to get here. It's no wonder I'm out of breath. That Don Jr., one of Trump's uglier children, if there can be such a thing, had actually said that, advised his father to make sure that everyone that served underneath him was thicker than him. I mean, look, we have crossed through into Narnia, really, so who knows if that's true or not. I like to think it is, because it made me laugh. So, having bucked ourselves up with Summer Holiday, I thought, well, I'm not going to do episode 36 of these, because actually I can now exclusively reveal to you that this is the 4th episode 36 that I've recorded. I've done 3 others before this in the previous weeks, because it's been a while, and I played them back and I thought, no, I can't really put that out, I'm afraid. So this one I hope will prove to be otherwise. And I thought, well, what can I do to make sure that episode 36 is broadcastable? And I thought, I know, I'll just revert to old actor stories, because you can't really go wrong with those. I mean, they're always funny. And it took me back to happier days. The days, oh, I know what it was. I put on the television this morning, you know, lounging around in bed at 8:30 in the morning, and bang on the television, what's on? 42nd Street. The Theatre Royal Drury Lane version of 42nd Street, starring Barney Langford. Now, many of you who know me will know my Bonnie Langford story and how she actually cost me a job that I really wanted. She wasn't aware that she cost me the job I really wanted, but it was an audition. It was an audition I went for where she came up into the conversation. And I'm actually not going to tell that story because it's a bit embarrassing. Well, not for her, for me. She doesn't know anything about it. So that's for another day, I'll save that. But 42nd Street came on, and I thought it was such a great production. And we'd seen it in the Theatre Royal Drury Lane when it was on, I think 2019, something around about that period, just prior to the pandemicals. And again, it's a feel-good thing. You gotta go out there and come back a star, he says. And of course she does. That she comes back a star. And it reminded me of some of my former days in musicals, because I hasten to add, a chorus boy. Oh, I had hair then. Hair I could flick, hair I could sit on. And amongst the shows I embarrassed myself in as a chorus boy, I did the Pajama Game. I did Salad Days. I think everybody did Salad Days. There were lots of different musicals that I'd done, or that did for me in the olden days. But the one that sticks to mind was, and I have written about this, so I'm going to verbalise it, was not so much, it was a one-off, it was a night, and it was called Midnight Cabaret with Cyril Fletcher. And it was a charity do, I think, if I remember rightly. And it was at the Assembly Hall in Tunbridge Wells, Royal Tunbridge Wells, and it was a bit of a variety show. You know, I was there with the chorus line with the acts doing things like a Sammy Khan medley. 3 coins in a fountain, blah, blah. Linking together. So I'm in the chorus line, and there were lots of things that happened during this night. The show didn't start until around about 9 p.m, which was very strange, but it was billed as Midnight Cabaret with Cyril Fletcher. Cyril Fletcher was a variety act, a very classic British variety act of the olden days, and he would come on and tell his odd odes, which he was known for on television and stage.
Last Christmas, stupid Charlie Turley didn't post his letters early. The parcel he sent to his mum arrived at Torquay in mid-sun. When it arrived upon the beach, Mamma was swimming out of reach, and the postman cried, "My duty's clear," then promptly dived in off the pier. Alack, alas, he couldn't swim, and that was thus the end of him. Yes.
And bless his heart, he was a lovely, lovely man, and he was the star attraction of the evening, and we were the cannon fodder. We were the people that were there to amuse them up until the star of the show appeared. And amuse them we did. So during rehearsals, I have a little memory of the fact that a word had gone round to the cast, the ensemble, that the caretaker of the theatre there was a pervert, and that there was a knothole in the stage, and that he could be found under the stage while the women were coming down and sweeping around there, looking up through this knothole, trying to see under their skirts. And whether this was true or not, I have no idea, but it did cause a rather strange thing to happen after rehearsals, because when the word went round, every time one of the women went past where this knothole was in the stage, they would sweep their dresses past in a sort of a strange, affected manner to frustrate the perverts' attempts to look up their knickers. And it must have looked very odd to the audience. I was standing there in the corridor thinking, I wonder how many of them are wondering, why is it whenever they reach that point in the stage, everybody's suddenly sweeping their frocks past? Oh, how we laughed. But that wasn't really the purpose of this story, because the thing that really sticks in my mind the most about this show was we were doing this Sammy Khan medley, the 3 coins in a fountain, the tender trap, is it? I can't remember half of these things now. And you see a man with open flies, and suddenly you're sighing sighs. I think it was one of the songs. That might not be the right lyric, but it's what we were singing. And they built this staircase a la Busby Berkeley at the back of the stage. This grand sweeping staircase. And there are we all dressed up like penguins, you know, with the black and the white and the hats and the canes and all the rest of it there. And the ladies were wearing their lovely frocks, which they were swishing past to avoid the perverts seeing their knickers underneath them. And as this staircase was at the back, but because we were on a very tight budget, the steps of this staircase were about 1.5 feet deep, which is extremely dangerous. And when it was sweeping, as the people on the top were having to clomp down this enormous stairs in order to reach the bottom, and of course the women with their big skirts on and what have you, it was okay, it wasn't so bad for us, but the women couldn't see their feet. So when they were clomping down, it must have looked like the charge of the Light Brigade more than a Sammy Carr medley. And what with the swishing of the skirts, you see a man with open flies and a pervert under the stage trying to see their knickers, as well as people teetering on the brim of a horrific injury coming down these stairs. It must have looked like a right old cock-up. Well, this show dragged on and on and on, a bit like this video blog, the world's least watched video blog. And midnight came and went. I mean, my dear, this show had gone on for hours, and by this time there was sort of light snoring coming from parts of the audience who were beginning to visibly doze off before the whole thing was rescued at the last minute at around about 25 past midnight by Cyril Smith, who came on, did his odd odes, got a huge round of applause, and everybody went to their carriages and the last buses, which had actually gone by that point, to get home. So it's a lovely memory, and it left me feeling sort of warm, and that things, however bad you think things might be, and let's be honest, they're likely to get a bloody sight worse as time goes by as a result of what's happened over there. But you kind of think, well, things can always be brightened up somehow. Whether it's by recalling things that are happier to you, like those times when I think back and laugh, whether it's summer holiday with Sir Cliff Richards and Una and all the rest of the shads, whatever it is that makes you laugh, whatever it is that makes us happy is where we should be, because we're going to need that as the years fly by. And on that cheery note, I will say welcome, hopefully, to episode 37 when I get my act together. And salute. I'll see you all soon.